here it is for you guys. Enjoy.
Welcome to We The Thunder. I'm Shooter, and we're here with Thomas Schooley, the professor. Just woke up to join us on the show. All right. Well, here we are back after another week of Lightning hockey. Wasn't exactly the best week of Lightning hockey that we've seen, but that's sort of becoming a pattern so far this season.
But ended in a good way.
It did. Ended in a win last night versus the Stars. Although the biggest controversy is the post-game interview, Thomas Schooley. Can you get to the bottom of what happened during the interview with Vasilevsky? Or are you completely frozen? I think you're completely frozen. But what? Oh, there you are.
Once the show.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the little toot toot.
Yes. It's funny because the last show we did, it was the big Corey Perry day, right? Where Corey Perry had his issue. And this was the news that hit today was, TMZ, Spittin' Chicklets is the link that I'm going to share.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that TMZ picked it up.
Let me pull it up here.
Yeah, I mean,
am I sharing audio?
Obviously, it wasn't great feeling last game, but
Hold on, let's go back to the
obviously
instant replay there. Can you hear it, Thomas?
Yeah.
We got to turn it up. I mean, this was not a silent but deadly.
It wasn't great feeling last game, but what was the
totally lost his train of thought there. Thomas Schooley, was this was, you didn't hear at the beginning, but this was Lightning Insider Eric Erlindson's question. Could it have been EE? Couldn't hold it until after
I think Serena put it in the little group chat that we had with the admins today that it was Watson. But I haven't seen nobody come out and say that, so I don't know if that's true. If EE has came out and said who it was, that was EE's question, and I did see someone ask EE if it was him.
Serena, as you can see in the chat, is convinced that it was Watson. She knows something that we know. Maybe she knows what he had for dinner. But anyway, what a
she's
way to
4 feet
celebrate.
tall. She might have been in that locker room and they didn't see her.
There you go. Blake says Colby said it was Watts.
Oh, it's Colby. Okay.
Getting to the bottom of that important news, and what a way to celebrate his first shutout of the season. 4-0 win over the Dallas Stars, who are a very good team. In case you missed Saturday's game, we'll get to that one. We'll graze over that one at some point tonight. But yeah, 4-0. I think the big highlight of this game was the pregame ceremonies. Victor Hedman, number 77 with game number 1000. Were you I like to always ask Schooley when the team does a special celebration or almost anything. I like to ask Schooley to grade it. So Thomas Schooley, we got a nice video. We got the silver stick. I got a nice glass a whole bottle of wine. I looked up that wine. It's not cheap wine.
I actually thought it was better than Stammer's 1000 celebration. I thought Hetty's was a little bit better than Stammer's, and I was like, oh. But then you had Stammer presenting, which was great because they are best friends. They came in 1 year after each other. They played together since Hetty's been on the team. So it was great seeing, and plus he's the captain, but seeing him out there and just seeing Hetty's kids The one apparently does not like noise because he definitely had his earphones on the whole time. And then Hedman's parents and his brothers were out there also.
So was it A, B, C?
I'd say it was an A.
Ooh, that's a rare A from Thomas School.
I'm not huge on the projections that they put on there, but
what about the video with the players and Killer and Palat?
Yeah, that was nice. And even if anybody was on Twitter or Instagram yesterday, you saw Killorn put out there that he was watching it on his laptop. So it was really cool seeing that also.
You know he misses playing here.
Oh yeah. But right now they miss him too.
Not all sunshine and rainbows in Tampa Bay hockey scene lately. But last game was great. I guess we'll start off with that one since we're already talking about it. 4-0 win over the Stars. This game started out with the Lightning scoring they were the only team that scored last night.
Yeah.
So you had Cirelli with the first goal. Cirelli actually notched 2 last night. Cooch, of course, another multi-point game. I believe that is a 10-game point scoring streak.
Yep.
For Kucherov, who does lead the league right now. Still, we're gonna make sure that we mention that every time we do this show, and Cooch is leading the league in scoring. And what was that, Cooch?
Can you make it simpler?
I don't think it can get any simpler for Cooch right now because he's just in the zone. So he got back on the board, and then Glenn Denning. What is it with guys playing their old teams and finding the back of the net? I thought Glenn Denning had a great all-around game last night. Besides,
he looked like he was on fire last night. And
yeah,
we say that when ex-Lightning players play us. You've seen it in the Tyler Johnsons, Corey Perry, Yanni Gord, Matthew Joseph. You see that little Carter Verhaeghe. You can on and on. You've seen that little fire when they play against us. So it was nice to see a player who we've got from another team, because we don't have too many that didn't come out of the Tampa system.
We got to get Sheary back because he's played for at least 3 other teams, right? That's get a couple goals from him against those teams. Who'd Watson play for? Buffalo?
Yeah, Buffalo. Delmont, Carolina. So
yeah, there's something about playing your old team where you get that extra motivation. And Glenn Denning played for Detroit for a while, so we still got plenty of games against Detroit where he can go ahead and score some goals. But we did, need that secondary scoring to start clicking, because in this little losing streak that we've had this week, that extended back into last week, they just haven't really produced. It's just been that first line. Like Cooch and Point are on it. They might not be scoring as much as we would like them to, but they are scoring mostly in these games.
And Cooch did become the first 40-point scorer this year. He's up to 42 now.
Yep, most points in November in the NHL.
And most points in the league as of right now.
Yeah, so we'll see if Cooch can keep up this pace. If he does, he's going to win the Hart Trophy for sure. But McDavid's creeping up. Got those Hughes guys as well. And by the way, those bros play each other tonight for the first time. So you've got the 2 on
New Jersey,
and New Jersey's in Vancouver. So if you're up at 10 o'clock tonight, I don't know if it's on ESPN, but it should. But I'm sure it's probably one of the national games if they're on tonight. You've got 3 brothers playing in one game. I think that's the first time that's ever happened. Or maybe, the Stalls probably did it at one point, right? I think it's the first time the Hughes have played. So that would be cool to see. All right, so we've got to kind of go back before I do that, because we're going to talk about the 3 games that we did lose this week. Let's talk a little bit about a watch party that we're going to have next month. So we're a little bit under a month away And we're going to have this watch party on Saturday, January 6th. And that is when the Bolts are in Boston to play the Bruins. So 7 p.m. puck drop. We'll be there earlier. This will be at Cigar City on Spruce Street. And I'm going to drop the link into the description of the podcast episode, or for any of the folks watching live in the chat here. All you have to do to enter to win a miniature signed highlight stick. It's a mini highlight stick, and it is signed by Sorelli. Glendening, our guy Glendening just scored. So Sorelli just scored 2 as well. And then I don't know if we should even mention the last one, but Nick Perbix is also on there. Some Bolts fans might want to actually scratch that off. The way that this season has gone for Nick, especially this week. He didn't have a great week either. But anyway, if you want to have a chance to win that, just RSVP on that Facebook invite, and we will announce the winner on January 6th. So we're going to start talking every week about that, because we want you guys to join us, and we'll be talking to Cigar City next week. So we'll have some more details on what's going to happen with that watch party. But yeah, go make sure you register or RSVP January 6th, 7 o'clock. Bolts versus Bruins. Going to be a good game, if anything. All right, now we got to go back in time.
Real quick, this is actually the 9th family in NHL history. I had 3 of my brothers play in the same game.
Okay, well, shit, happens all the freaking time then.
Yeah, then never mind. There's nothing special about those Hughes kids.
Happens almost as often as a goalie scores. Oh wait, let's not talk about that yet. All right, let's go all the way back to last Tuesday night. We did our pregame show, and we were all nestled in late Tuesday, well, after 9 o'clock, to watch the Bolts hopefully beat the Coyotes. But we forgot one thing. We suck against Connor Ingram. We just can't score against him. Last year, 0 goals and about 500 shots on him. This year, we did get 1 goal, but the Coyotes won. First off, Vasi had the night off, so we had JJ back in net. I think there was a couple goals that he probably wants back in this game, but I would blame the loss on him. And this was one of the games, and this is kind of consistent with some of the losses this past month, that the Lightning have really outplayed their opponent, but for whatever reason, end up on the wrong side of the scoreboard. So you've got the Coyotes scoring early with their first goal was Coroni, and he scored 2 goals that game. So that first goal was just kind of a weird goal where he just turned around and shot it. And what do you know? The puck makes it into the net. And I think JJ was screened on that one. And then they score a second goal. And here's definitely a theme of the season with the Lightning. Players getting their first goal of the season versus the Lightning. Seems like it happens every game. And this game, it was Travis Boyd with the Coyotes, and he made like probably the skate of his life. Got the puck at mid ice, made a move to go around somebody, and then just had a nice wrist shot. It was this beautiful goal, but kind of shocking that it was his first goal of the season. And then we had eventually Point and Cooch are going to get you. Did I just make a name for them? Point. I call them points. Eventually, you're going to get poinched, and that's what happened in the desert. Point and Cooch connect. It was Point with the goal, Cooch with a beautiful pass on kind of a 2-on-1. But the Bolts couldn't score this game. They had a ton of chances. Stamkos, probably more than anyone in this game, had a lot of golden opportunities, like real scoring chances.
And missed a lot of net.
And yeah, they were missing the net, or Connor Ingram was on it. Again, this is the Glendening effect, right? This players against their old teams have that extra motivation to beat them, I guess.
So here's also Arizona became the first team in history to defeat the 4 most recent Cup champions in consecutive games. So they beat Vegas 2-0, Tampa 3-1, Colorado 4-3, and the Blues 4-1.
And then, by the way, they, just for good measure, the Capitals. They beat 6-0 last night. So Coyotes are on a tear right now.
So they've given up, out of the last 5 games, they've given up a total of 5 goals, and then scoring 6, 9, 17 goals themselves.
And I heard they're pretty close to getting themselves a new stadium, or at least a new home to play in. So, yeah, Coyotes trending up. Tampa Bay Lightning trending down right now.
But I can tell you after that game. Well, let's recap the other games, and then we'll talk about some things about some shitty.
Yeah. Okay. So they come back home, play Pittsburgh for one game before they fly out to Dallas for one game, and that game starts great.
You and me sitting together.
Yeah, it's looking really good. We outshot the Pens. It was like 20-3, something ridiculous in the first period. More importantly, scored 2 goals in the first period. So you had the Stamkos deflection off a heady shot, and then Jeannot rebound on the power play. Bolts make it 2-0. They're dominating play the whole first period. So of course they lose 4-2. But I know a lot of people have been getting on Vasi's case, and of course that's going to change after he gets a shutout last night. But in this game, I don't know. I can't really blame Vasi for the goals in this game. You had the Crosby breakaway. How many times has Crosby made teams pay for, letting him get a free look at net? You had the O'Connor backdoor goal, Perbix and Hetty, like nowhere to be seen around O'Connor at least. And then maybe the Carter goal, by the way, Carter's first goal of the season. Mm-hmm. Maybe Vasi stops that one, but it was a nice shot. It went in the net. And then from there it was 3-2 Pens. And then the goal of the night happened when the Lightning pulled their goalie and Christian Jari gets the puck. And I'm like, oh man, he's going to shoot it. And the whole time that thing looked like it was going in. It was airborne till like right before the net, right at the hash marks. And what a shot. The first, by the way, his first goal of the season. His first goal of his career. First goalie in franchise history for the Penguins to score. And only the 14th goalie in NHL history to score. So if you were in attendance, bad game as a Bolts fan, but you did get to see something pretty rare that you probably will never see again. They've had Vasi try to take a couple shots before in the past. He hasn't done it recently in any recent years, but he's tried to take a shot when he got a chance.
I don't know if he had. I know Bishop had. I don't remember Vasi. Vasi's not really one to do that.
Yeah, remember the All-Star competition? Was that just last year where they had that event where the goalies had to score a goal, and then he didn't even do it for the Atlantic Division. They let the Boston goalie do it, and he sucked. And then I think that Boston goalie scored a goal later on the season last season. Anyway, it'd be nice to see the Bolts score a goal or with their goalie at some point. But yeah, the Lightning blow the lead at home to the Pens, and this makes it a 3-game losing streak. Going to Dallas, where Dallas is already one of the top teams in the West. Got anything else on that Pens game?
No, I'm glad I left early.
Yeah, me too. All right. So off to Dallas, and there's really not much to recap this game. I mean, there's a lot on the Stars side to cover here, but from the start, the first, what they score in the first 2 minutes with that puck that was batted out of the air into the net, and then it was they scored 3 goals in the first 6 minutes of this game. Yeah, the first goal batted out of midair. Second goal, I don't know how Vasi let that one in. It just kind of snuck in blocker's side, and then it was Jamie Benn with pretty much a clean breakaway. And 8 minutes in, it's already 3-0. And we did see something very rare at that point. John Cooper actually used his timeout.
And JJ put on his goalie gear, and it looked like he was about to pull Vasi and decided not to.
Yeah. Well, eventually he did get pulled. Did he get pulled at intermission? Is that what happened?
Yes.
I stopped watching. In all honesty, it was Saturday. This was like the 2:00 start time, so I was like, I don't want to ruin my afternoon. I know what's happening in this game, and you know what? That's pretty rare because in the past, I've always been the one that's like, hey, we're only down 4 goals. This team can come back. But for some reason, this game, I was like, nah, it ain't happening. They did come back and score right after that timeout. But after Dallas got that next goal, it was over. The team was just a mess in Dallas on Saturday.
And made Otter look great, and he's not actually – Tampa's actually had his number, and you kind of saw that last night in the 4-0. But Otter is not that great against the Bolts, so it was nice to see that tomorrow and hope that this little revenge tour continues to tomorrow night's game against the Pens.
Yeah, I think it will. So they get the revenge last night, 4-0 against the Stars. And the Pens come back to town 7:00 tomorrow, Wednesday night. And then the Bolts hit the road for their longest road trip of the year. You won't see them back in Amalie Arena till Tuesday, December 19th versus the Blues. So they're hitting the road hard. Thursday in Nashville, I will probably be there. That's 8:00 puck drop. Saturday, and by the way, get those naps in, Thomas Schooley, because these games are late. This is the West Coast.
Yes, I know.
Trip. So Seattle Kraken Saturday night at 10 p.m. Vancouver Canucks next Tuesday at 10 p.m. We'll probably do a Wednesday show, I think, next week because that's an off day. And then they've got the Oilers 9 p.m. Thursday, the Flames 10 p.m. Saturday, and then Tuesday the 19th back in town for some home games to wrap up the season. So this is going to be a crucial trip at a point where they really need to
wrap up the season, wrap up the year.
To wrap up the year, yeah. I take my seasons 1 year at a time. But yeah, this is a really important road trip. Given that they've been losing so much lately, they've really got to come home from this road trip, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. They want to have at least 5 points.
And actually, this road trip is pretty winnable. This could be a real boost for their confidence if they can get those. I think are all winnable games. Stephanie said it's a tough road trip, but I think they're all winnable games. And I would want to say 7 to 8 would be the point total for me to say that that's a good road trip for them. I know Coop says you always want 1 point per game, but I think they're looking at that 7, 8 points to try to gain some momentum to be able to really consider that a good road trip.
Yeah. And this team's got to start winning on the road. If you watched on TV last night, you probably saw Dallas is really good on the road. They've only lost 1 game in regulation on the road. The Lightning are 4-7-2 on the road so far this season. So they had the same problem last season where they weren't as good on the road. They were really a great home team. But if this team is going to make the playoffs and go deep into the playoffs, they're going to have to start to learn how to win on the road. So maybe a long road trip like this is just what the doctor ordered.
This is really something, though. This is going to be Vasi's really big first road trip-ish. You know, he did the Carolina and the 3 games but this is going to be his first extended road trip, his first extended games. You know, I saw it in Thunderbolts. I saw it in Lightning Strikes. I saw it in Sticks of Fire. I saw it in all the different groups after the Dallas loss. Do you fire Coop? Do you fire Blashnell? Vasi, what did we see? We saw something where they were like, go ahead and trade Vasi now and get something for him. It's been ridiculous. He's had 5 games. Vasi's had 5. So if you look, 2 wins in his first 5 games, he's just not getting back into the full workload. This is going to be a good time for him going into this. He'll play Pittsburgh tomorrow, and then they'll start heading on that road trip, and I'd expect he gets, almost all of them.
Well, JJ will start in Nashville.
Yes. Yeah.
There's also a watch party for Thursday night's game as well. I believe it is on Hat Tricks. I'll retweet it later if anyone didn't know that. It's an official Lightning watch party. And if it is at Hat Tricks, you better get there now, probably, if you want to see it. So you think it'll be Vasi tomorrow at Amalie? Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I'd imagine they put him against the Penguins again to try to get that revenge.
They don't want revenge on Nashville?
Nah, that's not an important team. Let's see. Right. Serena said when Sherry come back, and Stephanie already answered. Cooper did say it would be on the road trip. He should be returning.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have him back. I mean, he was kind of quiet when he was playing here, but it seems like they miss something about Connor Sherry. He's in that bottom 6. Maybe it's just having another veteran in there.
But then who's going now?
Well, it doesn't seem like they're married to Watson or ABB these days. So.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. You saw some speed in ABB, and he looked promising. That's Stephanie just says ABB out. You saw the speed and you saw some goals. You see the grit and the toughness from Watson. So it's really, what does Coop usually like to go with? He tends to go with the grit. So we'll see if ABB's gone again.
Kopke's another one that I guess they could probably send down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's who they actually brought up to replace him. So maybe he goes.
My question is, what happened to Nick Paul? Like, is he hurt? Like, he stopped scoring, that's for sure. Started off the season really hot. Hey, this kind of reminds me of last season when Nick Paul disappeared.
He's on that Killorn spot. It's the same thing we say about Killorn every single year. He's in that same exact Killorn spot. You get those few power play goals. You get those ones where you clean it up in front of the net, and then you disappear for half the season. Then we'll see him again, and then he'll clean up some goals, and then he disappears again.
By the way, I do want to have the debate on what is the right goalie strategy that you were just talking about. Is it to pay a big name goalie that can play most of the games, or is it to go with the 2 goalie tandem of maybe younger, lesser paid? I guess they don't even have to be younger. You can pay an older goalie less and use that space on your defense or your offense. So John, who's been on the show before, is going to come on here eventually, maybe next week, and debate me on that topic, because I'm on the side of, if you have a goalie as good as Vasi or really any like a top 3 goalie, then you keep that goalie. You pay that goalie, because they just don't grow on trees.
The problem you're going to run in with Boston and these teams that are doing 1A, 1B is that eventually one of their contracts are going to have to be renewed. And either you're going to pay him or he's going to be the number 1 somewhere else.
Gotta let him go.
Yeah.
Bring up that next guy. Goalies are so weird because they're so streaky, and there's a large population of like okay goalies, and there's a really small population of elite goalies. So we will have that debate. I do want to have a debate tonight before we sign off here, and that debate is and this is from an article that I saw earlier today. What is the Tampa Bay Lightning's biggest red flag so far this season? They did an article, of course, it's Bleacher Report, and they're fine reporting. But what is the biggest red flag for the Lightning? And I'll go through a couple of these. Buffalo Sabres, for example. Consistent inconsistency. And then you've got the Toronto Maple Leafs. The good problem turned actual problem in net. Florida Panthers. Is the team deep enough on defense? Boston Bruins. In the Taylor Swift voice, I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending. So what do you think they decided the Lightnings?
Well, just like what everybody's commenting, defense has got to be the red flag.
Well, they took it much deeper than that. And in this
I would say
article,
defense and that we are just a copy-paste team. I mean, this team has been doing copy and paste for the last decade on how we play and everything else. So, there is no change in the Tampa Bay Lightning style in the last 10 years.
You're kind of going down the right track, sort of. You're closer. You're warmer. Bleacher Report says, and this is all it says, is the title. Tampa Bay Lightning is the dynasty ending ? So they only give like a couple sentences on each team. And this one reads, nothing lasts forever. And the writing was on the wall with Steven Stamkos' contract negotiation frustrations to start the season. But it's still sad to see one of the most dominant cores of the 2010s start to decline in real time. Thanks for the memories. Do we need to send this to the Tampa Bay Lightning as bulletin board material?
Oh, I'm sure they've seen it.
Says they're done.
I'm sure they've seen it. Well, after Dallas, if you looked at anything on Twitter or X or Facebook, all the fans said they were done too. And not all the fans, but a lot of the fans said they were done. And you talked about some really good goalies and stuff like that. Vasi used to be lights out, lights out, lights out. Then you find their weakness. There's enough videotape on somebody, you end up finding their weakness. They found Vasi's weakness. Bishop, good. They found the 5-hole and the glove side was his weakness. You could score all day long on the 5-hole on Ben Bishop. Ned, when he played for Carolina, he was unstoppable. So much video. Once they get enough video of you, they're going to find it. But yeah, they need some kind of shakeup in that system, some kind of change. I was hoping Stammer's thing at the beginning kind of would have woke the team up and said, hey, this could be the last time we're all together here. We did see what the salary cap's going to be next year. Bedman came out and announced it. So I would imagine you've seen a couple smaller teams sign some people to some deals now that they know what the salary cap will be next year. So I'm wondering if any negotiations are going to start, although Stammer said he didn't want to do it during the season. So we'll see. And, I had someone message me the other day saying, do the players do a team-only meeting? That's on Steven Stamkos. He's the captain. He's the veteran. He's going to be the one doing that players-only meeting. Is he happy with this franchise right now? Who knows? His statement coming out at the beginning is bad. So hopefully it's not at the end of the road, but look at some of these other teams that had some good dynasties. They're still in it for a couple more years.
It's February. It's the first week of February. And the Lightning are in 7th place, which they're not far out of right now in the Atlantic Division. Remember, we've played more games than 2 or 3 more games than everyone else for whatever reason. We've been playing a ton of games. So they're in 7th place, 2nd week of February. Do you start fielding those calls for Steven Stamkos?
To be traded? I see him now. You got away on it. I really hope he ends his career here. He'd be the first Lightning player to play his whole career for Tampa Bay Lightning. So I really wish they would do that.
Still could get traded and come back. Although
he could, but I want him to play every single game here. He's about to hit the milestone on his power play goals. He's been the face of this franchise for so long. I really wish they come out with this. But it's going to be interesting whose names get put out there. His name will definitely be put out there at trade deadline because of the fact that you don't have a contract. So, and Lightning have to listen to it. They're going to have to see what's offered because they're going to have to try to cut some salary from next year anyway. So,
yeah,
I don't think they do.
I don't think it happens because I think they're still going to be in the picture. And I think if they're still in the playoff picture, there's no chance that they're going to trade a player like Stamkos. If they're in dead last and like the whole season is like a wash by then, which is probably not going to happen, then I'd say, yeah, they might be saying goodbye and getting something. Because you see it all the time in the NHL as players get older. Patrick Kane got traded last season. So there's a lot of people calling for that. There's a lot of people calling for Bassey to get traded, which is very, very early to be talking about that. Plus, he's under contract for several more years. So
listen, I've seen everybody try to trade the whole team this year. Sergachev trade, Chernak trade. There's definitely some of these contracts that I think that JBB might be regretting right now, and even further down the road. A Sorelli contract, a Chernak contract, even maybe a Sergachev contract. But I still think you've got to take care of Stammer this year and Hetty next year.
They're getting old, though.
Yeah.
We're not getting any younger. And that is the point that our friends at the Bleacher Report were trying to make. Is the dynasty over? They might be right. Can't always win Stanley Cups nonstop, especially when the salary cap barely moves. But as you mentioned,
the good side of it, my season tickets won't go up every year. They'll have to start giving you incentives to come to the game, so there'll be better giveaways. There's always a flip side to the team being shitty. So
that's not as fun. So the projected cap is supposed to move up over 4 million to 87.7 million, which Lightning really desperately need every one of those pennies for that, because they're going to be in another cap crunch next season. That's why we talk about trading Stamkos, because they might have to let him go for nothing, just like they've done with Killer, with Palat. And I think, the difference between this team and Chicago, who a lot would say was kind of the last dynasty before ours, was Chicago was always wheeling and dealing players. They still had that core that they kept for most of the time, but everyone else, they were kind of wheeling and dealing throughout those seasons. So they were able to get back. What were they like? They were getting there like every other year to the Stanley Cup. So we did it a little bit differently. And I don't know. So far this season, things don't seem the same. And yeah, defense has to improve. And a lot of times if the defense is playing bad, we always blame the goalie for letting goals in. But you can't really blame a goalie for breakaways and a lot of odd man rushes. That's not really on the goalie.
Yeah, and they also said that they're going to do, international game starting 2025.
Lighting are?
No, the NHL announced it's going to be teams from U.S., Canada. It's only 4 or 5 countries. Russia will not be one of them. Came out of the meetings today.
Well, are they going to let the team unified Asia play or something?
No, there's only 5 nations that are going to be in it. 4 or 5. 4 or 5. I think it's 4. See if I can find it real quick. If anybody knows what the 4 nations are going to be. I want to say it's like Sweden, U.S., Canada, and someone else.
Mexico.
Yeah.
the other 3 teams just beat the shit out of Mexico.
I was trying to remember who reported on it. I know it came out.
I heard that they were looking at doing this, and I wanted to talk about this a couple weeks ago because the NBA has their in-season
4-nation tournament. And it's going to be NHL Olympics and World Cup. Most likely format for the 2025 NHLPA international event is the best on best tourney feature in Finland, Sweden, US, and Canada. Then hopefully Olympics in 2026 and World Cup of Hockey in 2028.
Why don't they just let them play in the Olympics?
Because they want their own money first from this other games.
Of course. And they'll get it because I'll be watching.
And you see they announced the draft.
In the Sphere?
Yeah, in the Sphere in Vegas.
That's awesome.
June 28th and 29th.
Could you imagine being the first pick in the draft in the Sphere?
And have your pitcher go all the way around the dang Sphere.
Yikes. All right, well, let's wrap it up. It wasn't the best week of Lightning hockey, but we've got an important week coming up. So make sure you go to the game if you can tomorrow night. You can use our code up there in the corner. It's for SeatGeek.com. WTT. That stands for We the Thunder Pod. POD. Get $10 off your first purchase on SeatGeek for tomorrow night's game. Or, maybe you want to go to, I think there's a comedian in town this weekend at Amalie, always concerts and stuff. So go use our code. Go get yourself some Monkey Colt coffee. Go RSVP to our event at Cigar City on January 6th. And remember, if you RSVP, you got a chance to win that signed stick. It's a mini stick. Cigar City. It's cool like that. And Thomas, I keep having this contest for people to guess the correct score. We're on like week 3 now. Nobody can guess it. At first, we were just doing the gift card for Cigar City. And then I'm like, all right, well, let's do the gift card and the cooler. So we're going to continue that tomorrow. We're going to go back to Facebook and try to get a winner for tomorrow's game. Guess the score. Problem is we keep losing these games. So we won last night, but nobody guessed 4-0. We only did it on Instagram to see if they were better score predictors. They're not.
I do want to mention one more production that the Lightning did do. That game we went to in Pittsburgh was Hockey Fights Cancer Night. Number one, it was great to see that they have teamed up with the Jimmy V Foundation, and he was in the building. Number two, what they did for just the spotlight they put on the different cancers, the video packages they put together, the ceremony of puck drop. Was all great. It was really good put together for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Great job. There's Tyler. He sent me that on my way home from the Penguins game. So don't get too slick. Remember tomorrow night.
The revenge game's tomorrow, Tyler.
Yeah. Jimmy V was in the building. Yeah.
I was going to correct him on that too. Jimmy V has passed away. I can tell you this. He was not in the Lightning game. That was Dickie V. Totally different old guy.
Yeah. So, yeah, Jimmy V's dead. Sorry.
We're both tired tonight. We both just go to bed early.
Great production that they put on that night. I saw many people say they needed handkerchiefs and didn't realize they were going to be crying through that game. And there isn't anybody, I don't think, out there that hasn't been affected somehow by cancer. So good job for Lightning putting on that too.
But you rated that one a D though?
No, that one was an A also. That one's an A also.
Wasn't quite the Hedman 1,000 game ceremony.
No.
Are you going to get yourself a 1,000 Hedman jersey?
No, I ain't paying for that.
Those things are so ugly. They did the same thing for Stamkos, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they just changed the nameplate. Here's something I will complain about for the Lightning. Here we go. We haven't had one of these in a week. How about they made the players walk in the building in those Hockey Fights Cancer jerseys just so they could raffle them off?
Are you kidding me?
Oh man, Espo's pissed. Game worn, man. Well, I guess you can't say that game worn. They're player worn.
Player worn. I mean, it is ridiculous that they did that, and they made sure they so that they can event them off. And if you really want to do something nice, give it to those kids and their families you had there that the players took pictures with, instead of, I know it's for charity. But come on. And the only players that didn't have any purple on their stick was the Russians.
Hey, they're just here to play hockey.
That's right.
Well, maybe those kids got a voucher for some popcorn or a hot dog or something. I don't know.
And our buyers for the team store sucks. Carry on.
Wow. The daggers come out towards the end of the show. Oh, man. I got to make it to the team store.
It's the same thing you saw last year and the year before and the year before that. And if you want anything cool, you see, amen to that. True story. If you want anything new, you actually have to buy a ticket package. So that's the only way we can get a bobblehead right now, is if we buy ticket packages. Even though we're season ticket members, you still have to buy a ticket to another game to get a bobblehead. Go figure.
Well, you season ticket members, Christmas is coming, and I take tickets to Lightning games. They're my favorite present, actually. So there you go. Get yourself a bobblehead and send me your game ticket.
They need it. For the buyers, they really need to get into the younger generation. Nobody wants this golf guy, whatever his name is. Nobody wants this.
Herman.
Yeah. And then they did another collection with some other guy. I mean, nobody wants this collection. They're always on the 50% off.
Somebody wants it. Somebody's buying it. I've seen people with the golf shirts and hats.
Yeah, and then you find the rest of it on the 50% off rack. Get some younger people in there.
What would Thomas Schooley do? What do you want, the Sesame Street collection?
No, I want, so you go to the different arenas and you get to look at their team stores. And I want to say it was the Blues one that we went to, and their team store is really nice. They have like bobbleheads of almost every player that you can buy and everything else. And we'd said something to their store, and they said they get the same book we get. We can all order this stuff. It's for any NHL team. They just change, the logo on it. And then Vegas's first year, they had a puck holder that they sold different pucks to that completed the puck holder, a pitcher and the puck holder. So it's really cool. You had to buy those pucks to finish this pitcher, and you had to buy the puck holder to make it a pitcher. And we brought it back to the buyer for the Lightning. She's like, no, can't do it. And now we've seen it at 2 other arenas where they do the same thing. I mean, it's guaranteed puck sales. It's just crazy. The same crap every single.
All right, I will report back on Instagram with some pictures from the Nashville team store, and I'll only post pictures of something that I wish I could get in Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh, well, then you're going to be spending a whole day posting pictures on Instagram.
Stop it.
Their store's huge.
I never have trouble finding anything. You find buyers at the Amalie Arena team store. Great job. can email us at WeTheThunder@gmail.com. All right. You done? Are you done complaining about this team? Are you ready to come back here in a week's time? Actually, I was thinking about this. We should do a pregame show next week.
That's fine.
All right. So stay tuned. We will make an announcement on a pregame show. We'll have a press conference later this week to announce what game we will be pre-gaming for. Thomas Gooley, do you think you can hold on to that rum cake and
No.
rum cake the entire show next week?
No. It won't even be here tomorrow.
There you go. Serena's saying you get free scarves tomorrow that you can wear 3 times a year. I am still pissed about the game the day before Thanksgiving in Detroit where they got the Zamboni gravy holders. That I'm pissed about. But nothing else.
But you look at some of these giveaways in some of the team stores, and it's just crazy that we have the same stuff in our store time in and time. Even before, they used to do the pucks had the date on it, and now they've done away. Now they're just the matchup pucks. So tomorrow's would say December 6, 2023, Amalie Arena, and it would have Lightning versus Penguins on it. And they do 100 of them or whatever. Now there's no date on it. It just says Lightning versus Penguins, and it's been the same exact one for the last 4 years. And it used to be cool to get them that had the date on it, because when I would take someone to their very first game, I'd be like, oh, here's the matchup puck from tonight's game, your very first game. And it had the date on and everything else. Now you can go and get your certificate and then get a matchup puck that's the same at any time you see them.
Well, I got an idea for you. You know why? Because I make lemonade out of lemons.
Oh.
Let's get you some hockey tape, and when you bring someone to their first game, you wrap it in the hockey tape, just like when Anthony Cirelli scored his first goal years ago. And then you just need a Sharpie, and then you write the date on it. You can totally customize it with their name. Layla's first game on there.
The Blues. When we went to St. Louis, the Blues gives you an actual puck. And I have it here somewhere. And it says my first game. And they put your name on it. And so
they have to, or you might get shot on your way out.
Look, here it is.
There you go. All right. Well, you're going to start making your own game.
And they write the date on it. There it was.
It's not as authentic. You need the tape around it, because that's what players get when they keep their puck for whatever momentous occasion that was. All right. Well, it wasn't a great week, but I'm optimistic about ending this year on a high note, because once they have this away trip, which I think they'll do good on, they will come back here for a bunch of games to wrap up the year. Who signed that?
Puts the date on their pucks.
It looks like it's signed.
It is.
By number 10?
JT Miller.
Ah, I remember him. He scored against us.
Yeah.
First NHL goal.
And his last one.
All right. Let's wrap it up. If you're going to that watch party, Lightning watch party, hat tricks for Thursday night, again, you probably want to get there soon. Book your table, reserve your table at Hat Tricks, and go use our code to get tickets for tomorrow. Follow Thunderbolts. What else?
Thunderbolts is doing a Christmas party. It's going to be very, very limited. Details to come soon. But it is going to be
before Christmas, or
it is. And it's going to be a watch party too, but it's very, very limited, as the space that we have does have a capacity issue. So it's going to be very limited. You bring your own food and bring your own alcohol. Oh,
so
there
if you
you
want
go.
an invite, start kissing Thomas's ass now.
Have fun in Nashville, Shooty. Get us a win. Did you find anybody going? How many people did you find that going?
No, my buddy that I was gonna go with, he can't go now because he's got some stuff going on.
Did any other fans?
There's like a handful, less than a handful. So I believe I will be sitting by myself. So that's all right. I will still have fun. But look for me on TV. Hopefully, I won't be having the Scott sad pose because the Lightning are 1-0 when I watch them out of town. So we're gonna win.
So you won't be banned like Scott and I didn't go.
No, he's not allowed to go to away games anymore. No, we're gonna win. We're going on a winning streak here for a little bit, and then we might lose a game, maybe to the Canucks or something like that on the road. But I feel like Bassey's gonna get into his groove here. The team's gonna start to click on defense, and to be honest with you, it better happen pretty soon. It's gotta start happening over the next 30 days here. Or we're going to be on the outside looking in when it matters. So, but I'm still okay with it because it's really not how you're playing in December. It's how you're playing later on in the year, as long as they can kind of stay up there in the standings.
I was just say, as long as the other teams are, and that's what. Don't take Scott's better record than Scott. That's what. It's been such a copycat league this year that nobody is really breaking out of those standings too much. You have a couple top tier teams, and then everybody else has been not that great this year. So it's been pretty even. So as long as the Lightning can stay in that, we got a good chance.
All right. This has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.
That's it.
Through your mind in the last 48 hours from the end of the game on Saturday to the start of this one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't great feeling last game, but what was the question?
That's it.
Yeah, fine. So yeah, it just